Well, let's
And
talk about unlocking purpose.
yeah.
You want to go on that, Richard?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we talk about it as a purpose as three things: a mindset, a path, and a practice or practices. And so the key, as David said, is a verb. Purpose is a verb. There's kind of purpose with a big P, which is the cause-driven purpose that people say, oh, that's too big and that's not me. And then there's purpose with a small p, which is really about daily life and daily purposeful living and purposeful practices. So we talk about, simply we start with giving them a default purpose to say, well, here's a purpose you can practice with to begin with, to before naming or claiming yours. And so we say the universal purpose, which I've studied and we've written about for years, is to grow and give. Just two words: to grow and give. So one of the practices that we say to start with is just write grow and give on a Post-it, put it on your mirror, and tomorrow morning ask yourself, how am I going to grow and give today? And at the end of the day, before you go to sleep, ask yourself, how did I grow and give today? And if you do that for 3, 4, 5 days, you'll have a felt sense, not just a concept or a mindset, but a felt sense of that purpose is something that actually feels good, and it has real relevance, not just a good idea. So what we say is, a final note on my part is this, Dan, that purpose is not a luxury. Not a luxury for the educated or the affluent or the certain age. In fact, purpose is age agnostic. We find it people grabbing onto these concepts and reading them of all ages. But purpose is not a luxury, it's fundamental. And it's fundamental to health, to healing, to happiness, and ultimately to longevity. And so purpose is something that now the science is there. It used to be there was a nice concept or maybe even a spiritual concept. Now the science is there that shows that it has a lot to do with health and healing and happiness and et cetera.
And I'll just add one thing, Dan. One of the, when I've read over your blog, one of the strengths of it that attracts me is the clear sense of purpose you have in writing it, but also the practicality. There's lots of 5 steps to do this, 6 things to do in order to this, and we do have a little model in the book for unlocking your purpose that has 3 steps.
Yes.
The first is to figure out who you want to help, who you're directed at. The second is how you want to help, and that goes to what Richard was saying about growing and giving. And then the third is to do some introspection about what energizes you, and then equally importantly, what drains you. And I've seen you talk about that on your blog as well, to try to, Richard always talks about majoring in the majors, not majoring in the minors. Figure out what are the things that move you, and at the same time, what are the distractions, and to focus more on the things that move you and set aside the distractions.
Yes, I love that in the book. I was, you read along and you can sometimes you anticipate what's going to be written, right? Or it feels like you've read it before, and when you did the 3 steps, to getting to purpose, the first was wonderful. Who do you want to help? It doesn't start with like, what do you want to do? And I just thought that was just fantastic. Who do you want to help? It seems to bring some clarity. I mean, how are people responding to those 3 steps? What are you noticing?
Well, what I notice is that people want practices. Purpose is a verb. It's a practice. There are 1,440 purpose moments in a day. If you take sleep out, then it would be less. And so those are all moments where you could actually make a difference and practice or something like that. And so the paradox of aging, or the paradox of purpose, is that it starts on the inside, but it's manifested on the outside. So, so it's a choice. It's something that that needs to be activated in order for it. And we make this big. We have these two big shifts in life that we talk about. One is from adolescence to adulthood, and then the other shift is from adulthood to elderhood. And now that we're living longer, people are looking at what's the point of the exercise? How do I stay relevant? How not only healthy and financially solid, but how do I remain relevant as a human being? And that's where the growing part and the verb or the activation comes in. And so to stay resilient, I know the core of integrative medicine, the core of resilience is purpose. It's not something, and it won't be long till your doctor is going to recommend, you need a reason, Dan, to get up in the morning beyond the fact that you're taking care of your health and your finances.
Yeah, powerful. It is so powerful, right? And as the book lays out, I think so practical as well.
And where do you, if you're going to live 3 decades longer, where do you go for an advanced degree in maturity? In the past, there was kind of a model, learn, earn, and retire.
Right.
That's over for an awful lot of people. Not everybody, but we've
Right.
actually retired retirement in our writing and said,
yes, I hope so.
It's a choice, but it's maybe a new kind of retirement, or it may be no retirement, or it may be that so there's all kinds of things now. And so the new, Passages, when it came out 45 years ago, was on the bestseller list for years because people were looking for a new narrative, a new story, a new way to think and talk about these things. And we think this book might provide somewhat of a new narrative for people to give them permission to let go of that default life and in the rearview mirror and look out at the windshield and look at what's possible here.